Let's look at the NKBA graphic standards for floor plans. Here you have the example on your screen. This is from Chief Architect's small kitchen example. And the first thing I want you to see is that on the page we have the floor plan and the specifications. So let's look at the drawing of the floor plan first. What is on a floor plan? We have walls, doors, and windows. That's really important. We have cabinets, countertops, fixtures, and appliances. All right. You can show furniture if it's included in the project, and many people choose to do so. It's not 100% required. What else is on the floor plan? We want to label those major fixtures and appliances just with a small nickname or a small label. This is for quick reference because there's a lot of boxes, things that look like just rectangles on a kitchen plan, and it's great to be able to really quickly tell what that is. And so here's an example right here. It says REF period for a refrigerator. Another thing that's important for NKBA plans versus AIA plans is that the casing or the trim is drawn on all your doors and windows if that trim is provided. So here's an example here, this tiny rectangle, that is the trim on this door. What else is included on the NKBA style floor plan? We're going to see symbols, and here is an example right here. We have some elevation symbols that tell us to go look for elevation A for that interior elevation. We have a suggestion of flooring materials. Now, this one's a little odd for those of you coming from the AIA drafting standards. We don't want you to completely tile the floor with a hatch showing the flooring because it gets really busy and starts to be confusing. Instead, when you're close to done drafting, find an area on your floor plan that is less crowded, shall we say. And in that area, show us kind of a suggestion of that flooring. And the whole point here is to show the direction and how it should be installed. All right. Now, missing on this set, that flooring should be listed in the specification and then go ahead and tag that specification right where your hatch is. Okay. You are also on this floor plan going to include the ceiling heights and room names of any room shown in your drawing. So if there's more than one, if there's like a kitchen and a dining room, show them both. All right. This example is missing the room name, but it does show the ceiling. And notice that it is measured in inches, as in everything is, excuse me, in NKBA. So for visibility and for legibility, you want any symbol shown on your plan to be the kind of the same size, same graphics as is in your legends. This is just a standard across all drawings. And you also want any text to be a minimum of 1/8 inch high. Right, don't go any smaller than that. Think about people trying to read this in low light conditions with my older eyes. All right, and be generous to us with your text sizes. All right, let's shift to the right-hand side of the page now and look at the specifications. And notice the title here. This is a standard for NKBA drawings. It says Floor Plan Specifications. Right. And think of this like a shopping list of all of the different items for your projects. All right. And they're just listed out in text and they're tagged to the plan. I see a lot of students struggle with this NKBA, this specifications list is formatted a little bit differently than you may have seen in earlier interior design courses. It's a little bit more spare or sparse. So what do you need to list? First of all, make sure you include all fixtures, appliances, and finishes. I see students miss some of the finishes. Don't forget, for example, the paints, different types of paints, what's on your ceiling, what's on your floors. Make sure you hit all of these. Notice that in this example, the finishes are completely missing. They did not attempt to include any finish specifications. All right, but they should be in there. And then for everything in your specification list, you need to include a short name so that we know exactly what you're talking about. A manufacturer, a model name and model number, depending on what that manufacturer has available. And then any other information that could be required to successfully order that product. All right, so let's take a look at an example. Let's look at number 19. First, they have a short name so that we know what we're talking about. Panel front dishwasher. All right, looking at number 2, it just says sink. All right, so a short name so that before anybody looks up any information, they know kind of what they're looking at. Next, we look at the manufacturer. That's this brand ABC. All right. Next, we see the model number. This one says model 123. And then if there was any other information that needed to be included, we would put that there. That's it. All right, it's very pared down set of specifications. Okay. Notice the finished specifications are missing. I already said that. Sorry about that. When you have general room finishes, things that are going to be placed in multiple locations, go ahead and list them in the list and then tag once somewhere convenient on the plan. You don't have to tag like every wall with a paint specification. All right. For cabinets specifically, in student work, what I'm expecting is a descriptive specification. And so I want you to describe the style and the materials of your cabinets, and you'll include you'll include some informational. No, that's not what it is. What's the word? Inspirational. Let's start this over again. For cabinets specifically for student projects, I'm looking for a descriptive specification. I'm not necessarily looking for you to go to the extra step of finding a manufacturer and a model number for your cabinets. Instead, I want you to tell us about the design, the style, the material of your cabinets. Is it framed or frameless or insets? Is it shaker? Is it something else? Is it a white finish? Is it a natural wood finish? Tell us all those details, all right? And you'll include some inspirational images in your mood board, all right? But for a real project, you would then go work with a cabinet showroom, a cabinet manufacturer to fully select that specification. And I'm not looking for that level of detail in a student project. What I am looking for is the nomenclature. All right, NKBA graphic standards include cabinet nomenclature, and it's typically just written on the plan. You'll remember that cabinet nomenclature is like a nickname for that particular cabinet. And here's an example right here, 1DB18. Remember that is a one drawer base cabinet, 18 inches wide. All right. And so that is just written straight on the plan, 1DB18. Right, and you can see that as we kind of look around on this plan, several of them have that nomenclature right on there. Okay. Now, if there is more detail than you can write in the nomenclature, go ahead and tag that. Notice number 3 right here, and list it in the specifications. So we already know that it's 1DB18. You put the number 3 here, and it says it's a pull-out double trash. Okay. There is an alternate. If you do not want to place the nomenclature on the page, you are going to tag every cabinet and then pull out all that nomenclature into a separate schedule, a cabinet schedule. That's acceptable as well. All right. Do one or the other. Don't do both, though. All right, so far we've talked about what's shown on the floor plan and what's in that floor plan specifications list. Let's move on to dimensions. NKBA uses a different dimension style than AIA, and this is where most students struggle. So let's look at this in great detail. First of all, AIA, no, NKBA. Let's try this again. First of all, NKBA dimensions are drawn to the outside of the room wherever possible. We are typically only including one room in our project, right? Just a kitchen. And so we have more room to the outside of this very complex and crowded plan. Let's pull those dimensions out. All right. Islands and sometimes peninsulas are typically dimensioned inside the room because they're kind of hovering in the middle. It doesn't make sense to pull those dimensions out to the outside. And the tricky part about them is that they need to be dimensioned in two directions. I like to think about this as like Cartesian coordinates. You need to specify both the x direction and the y direction of the island in the room. And so you can see that this island right here has dimensions going this way. All right, and then it's got another string of dimensions going this way to fully specify the location of that island in the room. In NKBA graphic standards, every wall that has cabinets or appliances or really anything, right, is going to have three lines of dimensions, 1, 2, 3. The first dimension line is the one that's closest to the wall. In this case, it's it's this one right here. And we are dimensioning usable wall space. You're going to start your dimension from the interior wall face, right? And then you're going to dimension to any casings, openings, or change in wall surface. This includes if there's like a jog in the wall, all right, which is not shown here. So what we do see, we're starting here at the interior wall facing, interior wall face, excuse me. And then if you can't tell, this is like an opening in the wall under some upper cabinets. So it's like a pass through. And so we're going to dimension all the way to that casing and then to the interior face of this wall. Notice we're not measuring over here to the exterior face, we're measuring to this interior face. Also notice we didn't dimension to this cabinet that's in here. We are just talking about this piece of wall. All right. Dimension line number 2, here we go. The second line of dimension is for center lines of all appliances and fixtures. So again, we start at the interior wall face, and then we measure to the center line of this dishwasher, to the center line of the sink, and then there's no more appliances or fixtures, so we're going to go all the way over to the interior face of this wall. Okay. Now, I do suggest, I recommend, and it's shown here in this drawing, that once you place this center line dimension, which typically, whether you're using Chief or AutoCAD, you kind of snap to the back of whatever piece this is, you go ahead and grab that line and you pull it down to the center of your elements. This makes it way easier to read and to tell exactly what is being dimensioned. And you can see that again here with this one. Notice that your center line measurement is using a center line type, and it's got the center line symbol. Our third line of dimensions, right here, number 3, this is going to be the overall dimension of your wall. And so we're taking it all the way from the interior face to the other interior face. All right, and we've just gone through all of those NKBA graphic standards for the floor plan. Thank you.